Let's do this.
Good morning, and welcome to the Unleashed Media and Talk Show with Daryl Arnold.
Oh, hell yeah.
This is the show where we talk about everything.
What the hell?
Well, almost.
From today's news, culture, entertainment, real life, real people, and the stories everybody's talking about. And no, we don't do it in some tiny glass bubble. We do it the only way we know how. Real and completely unleashed.
Fire the hole, fire the hole, fire the hole.
So lean in and let's go right now.
Give me a hell yeah. What?
Yo, what's up, guys? We're outside of a very important place here in California. You'll see it's just home to a porta-john and a giant empty parking lot. But inside of this empty parking lot is something really important in the state of California. As you can see here, we have registered voters. 26 registered voters for this exact location, 100 Sunset Avenue in Venice. 26 registered voters. Right here, according to the registrar and the Secretary of State.
Yeah, right. All right, it is Friday, June 5th, y'all. And the year is 2026. Welcome to the Unleashed, Uninhibited, Unapologetic show. My name is Daryl Arnold. The official title is Unleashed Media and Talk with Daryl Arnold. We're on the radio at 104.3 FM in the beautiful city of Pearl, Mississippi. We're on all the podcast platforms at Unleashed Media and Talk with Daryl Arnold. And that's the "and" sign, not the A-N-D, Unleashed Media and Talk. Also, we're on YouTube at Unleashed Media and Talk, or either at Unleashed Talk is the handle. So check it all out. My name again is Daryl Arnold. We're live on Facebook streaming. We're on YouTube streaming live. We are also on many different platforms on Facebook and Restream. So thank you so much for joining us. Yeah, Benny Johnson was in LA at different locations, which were fenced in pastures, parking lots. There was no mailboxes. There was no people. There was no homes. But there was sure a lot of registered voters. What a freaking joke. What a scam. But that's, hey. And then California wonders what the hell's going on with their states and their cities. Well, you allowed horrible leadership to take over. That's what you did. And listen, it's not just California. The Democrat Party, once known as the Democrat Party, a.k.a. the far left progressive liberals, they're taking it all over. Why? Because of open borders, cheating. Now, I just heard on my way in to do this show, they are literally talking about the end of the freaking month before they can get the primaries counted in California. Is that not insane? Give me a break. They're waiting on all the mail-in, quote, ballots. That's a joke. That's a bad joke. Election day is election day, not election month. These fools will never, ever learn. This is the way for the Democrats to steal elections. This is nothing new for California. But it is so out front now, right in your face, they don't care. And then they wonder why they're losing so much votership. Well, because nobody trusts you, California. Nobody trusts you, and they're damn sure not going to listen to the elitist or the Hollywood so-called wannabe movie stars. Give me a break. Yeah, we always talk about that because it's true. So this is the Friday edition rolling into the weekend. wrapping up the week at the same time. My name is Daryl Arnold. You can text me on the Unleashed text line at 601 918 8409. 601 918 8409. That text line for this segment is brought to you by MS Coding. That's the Mississippi company, right? They teach you, that's the Mississippi Coding Academies. There's about 6 locations in the state or virtually. mscoding.org, mscoding.org. You want to learn cyber, you want to learn AI. You're going to need AI, ladies and gentlemen, especially if you're young. There are people flipping out because they think AI, they're literally booing speakers that come to their schools and talk to them regarding AI because they all feel like their jobs and or their college degrees are going to do them no good in the future. I don't know how I feel about that just yet. Too soon to call. We'll put it that way. Too soon to call. It is pretty freaking scary, though. Okay? It is pretty scary. And I don't look for that to really change. You know? I don't look for that to really change. And those are just facts. Jack. Literally facts. And we're going to be talking about a lot of that today. We got some huge breaking stories today as some votes came in, as some things got changed overnight and yesterday. Some that were popular and some that were retarded and some that were just snuck under unless you're keeping up with what in the hell's going on, okay? And it's important to keep up with what's going on. It's very important. You either keep up or you lose out. You keep up or you lose out. That's just the facts. That's the facts. So anyway, again, the show is brought to you in part by mscoding.org. The text line 601-918-8409. 8409. The cowards, okay? The extremely cowardly 4 or 5 Republicans. In this case, it was 4. Again, the Senate killed last evening. They killed the Save America Act. Voter ID and proof of citizenship, which is supported by well over 80%, if not 90% of American people. So these are pathetic cowards. That's what they are. So the 4 Republicans, learn it, know it, and remember it, please. Learn it, know it, and primary these people, please. The 4 Republicans that voted no in the Republican Party was Tom Tillis, Lisa Murkowski, Mitch McConnell. We won't have to worry about him after November. He has retired, and that seat's already been taken. And then, of course, Susan Collins. So this is a pathetic situation. And the Uniparty showed their faces, and reality kicked in front of all of us, the American citizens. So they're cowards. This is what they are. Complete cowards. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. You know, politicians, they work for us. They work for us. Maybe the people should rise up and don't allow them to vote against the majority of the country. And the way you rise up is to primary these people and get them the hell out. That's how you do it. That's how you do it. But are you very surprised at those names that I called out? Not really. And then you got John Thune, the Senate leader, who has been less than helpful. Less than helpful. As for Murkowski, Lisa, she gets her votes in Alaska. That's where she is. Who, they're village people. So if she knows that if there's a voter ID involved, she will lose her seat because those people, they don't have IDs. They're from tiny villages. They don't have anything. So she's going to hold up the rest of the country so she doesn't have to lose her pathetic seat in Alaska. Crazy. And my question is, this is not to be ugly. Does Mitch McConnell even know he's alive and there and voting? This is a serious question. It's not a slap at Mitch. It's all about money. It's all about power. These scumballs could care less about the American people, obviously. It's disgraceful when 90% of the people want something and they hold it up because of their wallets, their pocketbooks. They're insurgent of people in their ear telling them they'll give them this deal, that deal. You're just a Democrat. You're just a uniparty. Okay, you're pathetic. Okay, you are. 98% of Republicans support it. Hell, 75% of Democrats support it. God. They will pay the price. Maybe not yet. When politicians ignore the public, their anger does not vanish. It waits. When the people feel unheard for long enough, they stop asking politely and they just primary these people out. It's happened many times, over and over. But my question is, this is what happens when your trust, is treated like a, quote, unlimited credit card, and they just keep running up the debts until it's time to cut the credit card up and throw it away and pay cash. Anyway, they screwed over America, period. That's that. Now, that can come back to the floor again, but if they don't have the votes for it, it's never going to pass anyway. And for the senators who did vote for it, it's now time, right now, as in today, get to work to start to remove Leader John Thune, nuke the filibuster, and Save America Act is passed immediately. Do it. If not, if you don't do this, what happened to John Cornyn will happen to every senator in office. Americans are done playing around. Period. And basically John Thune is saying at this point, I don't care what 98% of Americans want. We can't manage the decline of America if we can't cheat in elections. Now, that's what I didn't say he said that personally, but that's the way he's acting. That's the way he's acting. Unbelievable. 6:46 in the morning. It is Friday, June 5th, 2026. You've tuned into the Unleashed Media and Talk Show with Daryl Arnold. We do it live. And also you can watch it back on YouTube. You can watch it back on my Facebook at Daryl Arnold MS. 2 R's, 2 L's, and Daryl. You can also listen on your favorite podcast platform, Apple, Spotify, Podbean, Google, Sirius XM now, and also Pandora. We're constantly bringing on new platforms for the podcast. We're bringing on new sponsors too. If you want your business blown up and blown up right, especially locally here in Rankin, Madison, Hinds County in Mississippi, give me a call. Keith and Dana Salisbury, what's happening? Haven't seen you guys in a while. Good morning to you. Russell's up at the snake grabbing rodeo with Jimmy Nichols and the crew. They're doing great things up there right outside of Chatham, Mississippi at Lake Washington over at Roy's store. The annual snake grabbing rodeos this weekend. Lots of music, Hurricane, the smoke, and more. And Russ donated a RG series Ibanez, great, and then they got it engraved with Hurricane and Sherilyn and Russ's little signature on there. It's going to be a big party. Big party. Whether you're there or not, make sure you donate. Make sure you donate. Good morning to Chris Martin, John David Brister. What's happening, brother? So yeah, it is a fun place up there, isn't it, Russ? With great folks that are doing great things. They're building a house for a veteran this year. And also they have a child as every year that they raise money for, well into the 100,000 mark. Good stuff. Mac Ginn also doing a lot of rodeos. Mac Ginn is from Holmes County in the Hizzy. Good stuff. Good stuff. But when we opened the show with Benny Johnson talking about LA, no homes. 0 homes. There was a porta-john out by the fence, but he had the voter records in his hands. There was one stinky porta-john located out by the street in an empty parking lot. No mailboxes, no businesses, no homes. But yet 26 people were casting votes from that parking lot. Good God. Good God. Lord have mercy. Also at 4 a.m. this morning, in the middle of the night, good news, bad news, or good news, no news, let me say that. But the good news first, the great news. The Senate finally, since last October, y'all, it took since last October because of the evil Democrats. The Senate finally passed the bill to fully fund ICE and CBP for the rest of Trump's term. There was only one Republican that said no on this, Lisa Murkowski, again, in Alaska. So the Democrats are now holding the bill to fund FISA hostage over Trump's appointment of the new D&I director taking Tulsi's place. But yes, this is true. They did pass this.
Chad Pergram joins us over the phone with these new details. Hey, Chad.
Good morning, guys. Well, this has all just developed in the past hour. Let me start with FISA. FISA Section 702 has been very controversial. This is this domestic spying program that they have. And the problem with it is a lot of Republicans and Democrats wanted more guardrails. They've gone through several deadlines here. The push is to get this done by the end of next week. They thought they had a bipartisan agreement here. because it expires at the end of next week. And so this was a test vote to get past this early this morning. And what happened is that Democrats who had been a party to this bipartisan agreement, they pulled out. You had a number of Republicans who voted against this on this procedural vote. But the reason that the Democrats pulled out is they do not like the installation of Bill Pulte as the acting director of national intelligence. They don't think that he is qualified for that position. And so they knew that on the Republican side of the aisle, there were going to be GOP no's, but they needed Democratic support, and they basically all backed out. This reform bill, this compromise here, would include a ban of a government-backed digital currency for 3 years, and House conservatives wanted a permanent ban on that. And it also would prohibit the FBI from using Section 702 of FISA against the prosecution of an American. So they thought they had an agreement there, and that all fell apart because of the Bill Pulte situation. Now, one thing I should note is that if you really get into the weeds on FISA, is that the program, the authorization expires, but what happens at the end of next week, the FISA court has indicated that they can still use the program. The question is whether or not that the telecommunications companies will continue to provide the data without the legal cover provided by Congress. So that's the issue right there. So whether or not they can put the genie back in the bottle on that and work out something in the next week is very tough. Now, the other news this morning is that ICE and the Border Patrol, this is the last section of the government funding fight that stems back to last October, is now funded. They used this special process to go around a filibuster. They only needed a simple majority. They passed that. There was only one Republican no. That was Lisa Murkowski of Alaska. The House of Representatives.
I bought a gun yesterday.
Well, that's it. You heard it from Chad. He knows what the hell he's talking about when it comes to all these bills being passed and when they're passed, and he is on the Hill all night, basically. But, you know, we need to let FISA die anyway, pretty much. I mean, seriously, who really likes spying and allowing these telephone companies to sell your communication companies, mobile companies, to spy? It's kind of a double-edged sword because you need it in crime, but anyway, it's very complicated in my opinion. It really is. But it's official now that Murkowski over in Alaska is 100% a Democrat. We kind of knew that already, but now we definitely know. But she needs to go. Funding border security and law enforcement should not be controversial, though. I mean, that just should not be. So the main news out of that story is ICE got funded and CBT, the Border Patrol, got funded. If the goal is to secure the border, which that should be everyone's goal, no matter what your political affiliation is, for safer communities, then Congress should stop playing freaking games and get it done. Okay? Get it done. Somebody in Texas, where my family members live, somebody in Texas said, hey, we don't even want FISA anyway, so the Democrats can go to hell. Yeah. Well, like I said, the main thing we really wanted is to get our law enforcement, ICE, CBP, we wanted to get them funded. Okay? And they can just get a warrant on the FISA thing. So I'm not that worried about that, honestly. But the ridiculous people that did not vote for the SAVE Act that we've been talking about on this show for well over a year, you're pathetic. You are a traitor. You're a traitor. 4 Republicans, y'all, in the Senate just helped the Democrats block the Save America Act, the critical bill to secure our elections. Unbelievable. Unbelievable. Just doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense at all. Unbelievable. Democrats have been so very unserious about Border Patrol anyway and border security, repeatedly holding the DHS funding hostage. And Republicans in overcoming their obstruction by crafting the bill directly in, I believe, Rand Paul's committee, allowing them to swerve around the roadblocks, secure its passage, and go ahead to get passed. So good for them. If the Democrats can come up with shenanigans, then we should come up with them too. Because just in, Gavin Newsom's California is getting sued by the Trump administration for forcing, I talked about this the other day, forcing girls to compete against biological men in sports. It's a disgrace. Women are being called co-champions now. If a transgender wins the event, that's not fair and it's not right. Not fair and not right. The state of California code says students must be allowed to compete with their and be consistent with gender identity, not biology. I mean, really? God, man, what is wrong with these people? I hope they get sued. I hope they lose every single freaking time. Every time. If you live here locally and you're listening to this show live, today's National Donut Day, and Pearl, Mississippi runs on Dunkin' Donuts. They've always been a big sponsor at 104.3 FM. I had my Dunkin' Donut and got a free donut this morning, but had my Dunkin' coffee this morning. It's right up here off Riverwind in Pearl, Mississippi. Pearl, Mississippi runs on Dunkin' Donuts. Stop by there, tell them 104.3 sent you, and get a free donut anyway. Because, like I said, it is Free Donut Day.
Hello, I'm Mayor Wyndham, and I'm thrilled to show you.
If you or a loved one need reliable medical equipment, trust a name Mississippi has depended on for over 20 years. Mobility Medical, located right in Flowood, is your local family-owned source for mobility and home healthcare solutions. From power wheelchairs and scooters to lift chairs that help you relax in comfort, they've got everything you need to stay independent and live better every day. Need help at home? Mobility Medical offers hospital beds, tables, and essential supplies, and more. What sets them apart? It's their personalized service. Their experienced team works one-on-one with you to find the right equipment. Serving all of Mississippi and beyond with in-store support and delivery options available. Mobility Medical, helping you move better, live better, and stay independent. Visit them today in Flowood or call to learn more.
Support for these programs comes from Electrical Solutions and Services in Pearl, Mississippi, providing licensed electrical contracting services throughout Mississippi for commercial, industrial, and residential projects. Also installations, system upgrades, troubleshooting, and emergency electrical repairs. As certified installers for Tesla, charging systems, and a certified dealer for Generac backup power solutions, their team delivers safe, code-compliant workmanship with a commitment to precision and integrity. They are veteran-owned. Their phone number is 769-572-7597.
You are listening to WPBP 104.3 FM, The Pirate, Pearl, Mississippi.
Welcome back to the Unleashed Media and Talk Show with Daryl Arnold. And yes, he's still unapologetic.
Yeah, it is 7:01 in the morning, top of the hour. My name is Daryl Arnold, 104.3 FM. And also, we are streaming live, Facebook, Rumble, YouTube, etc., Unleashed Media, and Talk, DARRELL Arnold. Thank y'all for joining me on a Friday morning, y'all. It is June 3rd. It's the end of the week madness. We're talking about California getting sued. Good for them. Good for them, as I did a story the other day regarding the girls are forced to get on the same podium with the guys who actually won the girls event, but they're actually guys. But since they're in California, it goes by gender, not biology. You can't make it make sense. You can't. I mean, but the federal officials say that this violates that, and discriminates against women, and the feds are suing the state to stop it. The weekend, you can expect more protests, and good. That's a protest that I would go to. That's a non-violent violent protest that people should get involved with because they're allowing this in the state of California and spitting in our faces and laughing in our faces. So they can go to hell if they're not already there. If they're not already there. We talked about some things that happened in the middle of the night last night. The ICE getting funded, CBP getting funded. And it's taken since last October to get these people funded. That's how many people don't care about the security of themselves, their families, or the rest of us. You know, they don't care about the rest of us. Same little small pathway, y'all, has been haunting American people and American presidents, rather, for decade after decade after decade. You know, when we tell you it's been like 40 years, we're not joking. We're not joking. Somebody put out a montage going all the way back. And it's true. It is absolutely true. And all I can tell you is this. This has been going on forever. We're talking about a small little pathway over the Persian Gulf, Iran. Okay. So we're going to play this little montage for y'all as soon as I can find it again. It's pretty interesting. It is very interesting, in my opinion. More people need to know about this. More people need to know about this and learn history.
The free world could stand by and allow anyone to close the Straits of Hormuz and the Persian Gulf to the oil traffic through those waterways.
We will keep the Persian Gulf open, no matter what the threat.
What do you make of the incident in the Strait of Hormuz with Iran on Sunday?
We viewed it as a provocative act. It was a dangerous situation, and they should not have done it.
If Iran decided to shut down the petroleum-rich Strait of Hormuz tomorrow, they believe oil will skyrocket to $300 a barrel in minutes.
All necessary security arrangements and the present freedom of navigation of all parties.
Their capacity to threaten commercial shipping in the Strait of Hormuz. A single terrorist can put something in the water or shoot something or shoot a missile, a small missile, which is one of the reasons they've always used that as a weapon.
Goes all the way back from Reagan, like 1984 or 1980, all the way to President Trump. So pay attention, people. Nobody's ever really stepped in to fix this, though, until now. And people are brushing this off, calling Donald Trump a fool and listening to Israel, all this kind of junk. When he's already made clear that he basically went off on Netanyahu and said, calm down. Calm down. We're doing what's best for the United States, not for Israel. And we have enough oil in the United States, y'all, to last for hundreds of years. Now, the question is, how did each president handle this? Well, we know Obama was a big loser. Biden didn't know where he was. That was George Sr. was in that, and George Jr., Bush, and then, of course, Reagan. I think the only one that handled it decent was Reagan. Peace through strength, and Trump. But these are more reasons why Trump is pushing, and we should be pushing every day to be more energy independent. 50 years, y'all, or 47, whatever it is. That's exactly right. It's exactly right. Kind of wondering why that video and that audio has not gone viral. Okay. But yes, this has been a problem forever. And I don't care what y'all say, it has. I mean, forever and ever and ever. Got a text message from David Hall. He said, if you have time on the show, everybody is getting upset about data centers, you know, because we're building a ton of them here in Mississippi and all over the country. What they don't understand is the way this industry is going. Remember when computers were like a toy? We didn't understand them at all. Remember when the internet was just a fad that only rich people had? Now everything in the world functions on the internet. It's just one of those circumstances where people had to either get better, train on it, or be left behind. That's the truth. That's what I keep saying about MS Coding Academy is one of our sponsors. This is free, y'all. Okay, this is a grant-based program where you can learn AI and all because it's going to move forward big time. So much that there will be jobs created through these data centers, and there will be jobs maintaining these data centers. There will be jobs, so you might as well catch up, keep up, because you're not going to stop it. You can stop a lot of things in this country, but you cannot stop technology. Period. Just doesn't work that way. Just doesn't work that way. This Caitlin Collins, wannabe reporter from CNN, the fake news media network. She always tries Trump. It never works out in her favor. Trump is talking in the Oval Office yesterday about how fake news, how they have abused our people in the nation. They have abused our people in the world so badly, telling them that they need to be ashamed, but of course they won't be. They want clicks and they want viewers for their nonsense. Sadly, but very true. Sadly, but very true.
You have abused our people so badly. The fake news like CNN, like the New York Times and like others have abused our people. Wait a minute, be quiet. Have abused our people so badly, and you should be ashamed of yourself. You used to be a conservative. She was a conservative from Alabama. Can you believe it? But CNN, in particular, CNN does such false reporting. But now they have new ownership, so maybe it'll straighten it out. I doubt it. But it's hard to straighten garbage out. but CNN has abused, and others have abused so badly. People, these are people that are great people that were destroyed. Their families have been destroyed.
Yep. They destroy families all the time. Just because those people support Trump or Trump does something great for their military families, and they jump in and dive right in and start in saying, well, I mean, how can you respect Trump? Well, I mean, how the hell can you respect Plattner is running for senator in Maine with the big fat Nazi tattoo that he's proud of? The crazy stuff that he did to his exes, the insane things that we would not even think about voting for. The Democrats have put all that aside, apparently, and they still think it's worth it to vote for him in Maine just so they can get another seat. Good morning to James Drew checking in. But yes, it is crazy, y'all. It's not crazy, it's insane. And we're definitely going to get into that story about Maine because it's a huge issue in the country right now. It's a big story, a huge story, a huge story. A former girlfriend of the Maine Democrat Senate race, Graham Plattner, the loser, is making explosive new allegations. She is reportedly claiming that Plattner would sharpen an axe at the same time watching television and ruminate about raping home invaders. What? Weirdos. I'm telling you. The ex-partner also alleged Plattner once pulled her from a taxi by her wrist during an argument and pushed her into the bedroom, held the door shut, and regularly fantasized about killing people that he viewed as threats to him. She further claimed that Plattner joked about his Nazi emblem tattoo associated with a death camp and said members of his military unit chose the symbol because they viewed themselves as a, quote, unit of killers. Anyway, of course, he's on there saying he's denying any wrongdoing, but this is insane, y'all. It's now putting that campaign under intense scrutiny, but Bernie Sanders, AOC, all them that are supposed to care so much about the women and so much about everything, they're keeping their mouth shut, getting in line, and they're going to vote for this Nazi anyway. The Democrats always say this. They always say the same thing about what they're getting ready to do. So they make up a complete story, basically, to go with the other story, to put it on the other side, and then all of a sudden come up with it about Trump, Good Lord. It's just crazy. It's just crazy. I mean, we can call it what we want, but really and truly, these people have they don't care. They don't care. All they want to do is defeat Trump at any cost. At any cost. What the F is wrong with the DNC? That's a text message I got from Kent. Good morning, Kent. Long time no see. Talk. They are maniacally crazy. Where was the vetting process? I don't know that they have one. I don't. So, it's totally cool for a white guy, a wacko job who's a Marxist and a communist and a socialist to have a Nazi tattoo on his chest. But well more than half the country who support the president in, as far as the CNNs and all that go, they call them white supremacists. Really? Does that make sense? Freaking unreal. Unreal. The Dems love Nazis. So I guess they love Trump if they keep calling him that. These are comments right here. These are not mine. These are comments I'm getting. Democrats cry all day about hating evil, racist, white, sexist men, but then they go out and embrace literally one of the worst ones they can possibly find. Yes, they do. They do. Even if only half of these allegations are true, which we know they are because there's no allegations if part of it's not true. It just doesn't happen. The voters need to pay attention and they need to get some serious answers before Election Day. Thank you for that message, Catman in the hizzy. In the house. Anyway, piece of trash. That message is from Daryl. That message is from me. One more message here. We had time to do one more right here from David Hall. It's always about absolute power. He's right. That's all they want. They want to get power back so they can run the country into the ground the way they want to. It's always been about power. They have zero moral values, nothing. They just never have. Thanks for the message, David. 601-918-8409, the text line. 7:19 in the morning, coming up on 20 after the hour. So, this guy, Grant Plattner, unbelievable. Unbelievable. I'll tell you what else is unbelievable. You have to be 16 years old to drive a car, get your driver's license. You have to be 18 years old to vote. You got to be 21 years old to smoke cigarettes or buy beer or drink. You have to be 25 years old still to rent a car. But why are the teachers in the school system talking about sexuality at 12 and below? And why are kids encouraged to mutilate their body at the age of 12 and 13? This gender ideology madness has got to end soon. And we're going to talk about that in the next segment. And please text me with any messages or get in the chat room because it's more insanity, ladies and gentlemen. It's more madness on a Friday, June 5th. More to do with the culture, more to do with the news, more to do with the big stories that we talk about unleashed here. That means we talk about them unapologetic and uninhibited. My name is Daryl Arnold. It is 104.3 on the FM dial, and of course the podcast, the live streams, and all the other stuff.
Don't forget to check out Cypress Point Resort. Memories are made at Cypress Point. Close to home, yet it feels miles away. At Cypress Point, you can truly get away from it all. You can step back to a simpler time, yet enjoy all the amenities of today. Cameron's Garage is a sports bar and music venue. There's a lunch buffet every day inside Cypress Point. They also have a steakhouse and the Tavern. The Tavern is a quaint little place with live music Wednesday through Saturday. And of course, you've got the Safari Park and Petting Zoo. Don't forget about all the event halls, including the Wedding Chapel and so much more. That's Cypress Point Resort. Located at 874 Hollybush Road, Brandon, Mississippi. Contact them at 601-829-1101 or at cypresspointms.com.
Every program in the Next ecosystem is designed to meet people where they are and take them where they want to go, in technology and in life. Mississippi Coding Academies is a nonprofit that bridges the digital divide, delivering accessible, affordable, and life-changing technology education across the globe. Funded by grants and donations that are truly making an impact at home and abroad. Learn coding, cybersecurity, and so much more with locations around the state of Mississippi. Go to mscoding.org today and go to your next level.
Welcome back to the Unleashed Media and Talk Show with Daryl Arnold. And yes, he's still unapologetic.
Welcome back. It is 7:22 a.m. Central Time in the morning, Friday, June 5th, 2026. Unleashed, Uninhibited. My name is Daryl Arnold. The name of the show is Unleashed Media and Talk with Daryl Arnold. 2 R's, 2 L's. On a Friday morning, I said after the break we were going to discuss this. So we are going to dive into it. We talked about having to be able to 16 years old to drive a car. You got to be that old to get a license. 18 to vote, 21 to drink, smoke, all that stuff. Nightclubs, all that good stuff. Liquor stores. 25 to rent a car. But teachers are talking to our kids about sexuality, and I don't mean just regular sexuality. I mean the gender madness. Okay, there's a big difference. And Senator Banks was discussing exactly what I'm talking about, word for word. But it's true. Let's break that down a little bit and then try to understand what kind of madness, what kind of self-loathing narcissist teachers and people, and not just narcissists. I mean, they're just freaking weird. They're weirdos. A lot of them are pedos, along with weirdos and freakos. And this all started under the Obama administration, and I'll argue with anyone about it, anybody, because it's just true. It's when it became popular. I'm not going to say when it started, because it started probably hundreds of years ago, unfortunately.
Before you can buy alcohol, 16 before you can have a driver's license. How young are some children in America when they have a sex transition surgery?
Yeah, as we noted, we put together a database based on claims data, the Stop the Harm database, and noted almost 14,000 kids less than the age of 17 and a half, and many of those, again, young teenagers who had these hormonal interventions and procedures for 5,700 surgeries. These are significant numbers when when we look at the number of children who've taken such medications. There is a study from the Journal of the American Medical Association that looks at a rate of 1.4 out of 1,000 girls by the time they're 18 that have taken some form of medication related to gender transition. That's the same as the rate of diabetes in the population, type 2 diabetes. So I think there's great concern in that regard.
Ms. Cole, how old were you?
I was 13 years old when they put me on the first interventions, and I was 15. I didn't even have a driver's license yet. I didn't even have my first relationship when I had surgery to remove my breasts.
Lifelong issues, as you noted, complications that you could have received. Mr. Minter, how young is it appropriate? Is it appropriate to talk to a child about sexuality? At what age? Is it appropriate at 12? Is that appropriate?
It is. I'm not sure what that has to do with the medical care we're
Answer
talking
my question.
about here.
Is it appropriate at 12 to
that
talk
is
to a
a
child about their
decision-
sexuality?
You know who that decision belongs to? Parents.
Is
Belongs
it
to
appropriate
parents.
for a teacher to talk to a child about issues of sexuality at the age of 12?
No.
Yeah, but it happens. Listen, I think that you can talk to your children about sexuality when you as a parent decide to do that, not a teacher. That's a conversation between the parent and the child, okay? That's the way it was when I was growing up. That's the way it should be now. And especially, you shouldn't be talking to 12-year-olds about gender mutilation. That's just completely wrong. Sorry. You may not agree with me, and you're saying, Daryl, that's a little harsh. No, it's not. No, it's not. Because what you're going to do is you're going to ruin that child for the rest of their entire life. Because a kid that young doesn't know what the hell they want out of life yet. They just don't. These are good questions. Protect kids from confusion, ladies and gentlemen. The parents are in charge. Keep the gender politics out of your freaking mouth and out of your schools. Keep it out. Adolf Hitler once said, quote, "Let me control the textbooks and I will control the state." Of course he did. Of course he did. So you think about that. There's no such thing. There's no such thing as a non-binary child. It's just not true. These are learned. These are not born with. They're learned. And of course, over at Disney, once again, Disney and the woke tard deviants wanted sex talks with their kindergartners in Florida, even. That's true. They did. Until Ron DeSantis showed up and said, no, 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 we're going to stop all of this. That's just true, too. I don't know. That subject just always rubs me crazy because it just, people are not going to know what in the hell they want to do with their life at that age. They're just not. They're not. There's also Medicaid fraud investigation going on, which targets children's services. Federal investigators say a major Medicaid fraud scheme that involves children health services has been uncovered in Ohio with more than $75 million allegedly stolen from those programs intended to help the vulnerable children. Unbelievable. Authorities say that the investigation, known as Operation Playground Therapy, focused on healthcare companies offering community-based services to Medicaid-enrolled children throughout southern Ohio. Now, this is also happening everywhere. And they're going to, Dr. Oz, the FBI, the DOJ, they're going to open these investigations everywhere, as they should. The Medicaid information was allegedly passed to billing entities that then submitted fraudulent claims for behavioral and mental health services that were never actually provided. Officials say the scheme diverted funds meant to support children's health care needs and may have impacted thousands and thousands and thousands of patients, children patients. Law enforcement agencies involved in this operation say those responsible have been, quote, identified and will be, quote, facing massive prosecution. This is crazy. The investigation remains ongoing as officials work to recover taxpayer dollars and hold everyone involved in these type frauds, these Medicaid fraud, accountable. As they should. There's been so much fraud during and since COVID-19 and the shutdown of the country and the big lies they told us that literally shut down everything except for strip clubs and stuff like that. Give me a break. Remember, we were supposed to be essential business. I guess going and looking at some boobies was essential. Whatever. Biggest scam in history in my lifetime. In my lifetime. That was the biggest scam ever. Oh my goodness. Just really sad but true. Really sad but true. The very true. I'll tell you, Scott Bessent and Mark Rubio have blown up the media because when they get in these hearings with these insane lefty lunatics, they completely wear them out because the sad part, and it's funny, but it's also real sad. These people don't know what the hell they're talking about. You can tell they never took civics. They never read history. Judy Chu, the Democrat representative, was trying to, quote, drill Scott Bessent. And he just said, hey, just going to ask you a basic question. Of course, she couldn't answer it. This is somebody that represents the United States Congress.
Think about Americans' financial situation when it comes to the war with Iran. So I want to ask you, Secretary Bessent, do you agree with President Trump that you also do not care about Americans' financial situations?
Congresswoman, who was the president during World War I?
Can you,
No,
are you refusing to answer my question?
No, I'm asking, who was the president during World War I?
I don't know, but clearly you
So
are
you
not
don't know who the
answering my
president during
question.
World War I was. Well, let me tell
So
you.
I'm clearly getting the idea that you do not want to answer whether you agree with President Trump that you do not care about Americans' financial situations.
President Trump does care about Americans' financial situation.
Well, he actually said that he doesn't.
No, that is a truncated thing, like everything is, that he is future-proofing, because I can tell you, Americans' financial situations would be devastated if Iran got a nuclear weapon and there was a permanent shutdown of the flow of energy out of the Middle East.
Well, then let me ask you, was your prediction?
And I promise you that
I'm taking my time back.
I will promise you that President Woodrow Wilson, who was president during World War I, that the Germans did not attack us. That he got into that. It was
Well, you're not answering the question, so let me ask this.
And I guarantee
was your
you,
prediction
President
that Americans
Woodrow
would
Wilson
face
thought the same
only
thing,
50
Congress.
days of temporary?
Foolish. Foolish. I like Scott Bessent. I'm on board with Bessent. On board with it. Anyone running for office should be required to take a freaking IQ test. And have some kind of working knowledge of the freaking civics or the history of the country, really. But Judy Chu has no idea, along with the rest of these fools, basic American history. I'm not even sure that they like basic American history. I'm really not. Anyway, got a text message saying, unknown texter, she is the daughter of Chinese immigrants. She is in Congress to push China's agenda. Thanks for the text message. I don't necessarily disagree with that. I do not. But Woodrow Wilson, of course, was the answer. Yes, that's true. That is true. People like Judy Chu can't grow or be educated. They're, quote, mindless drones. This is another text. With puppet masters and handlers who read pre-written scripts. Yeah. If you notice when they're in those hearings, they have pre-written scripts in front of them. They don't read that. I mean, they don't know the answers. They just read what's given to them by their, quote, handlers. There's another text from Dex that rhymes. You should be able to pass a civics test to serve in Congress. It's true. That's true. But see, we had civics when I was in high school. What the hell happened? We also had government in high school. Literally, the class was called government. What a joke. What a joke. We could sit here and bash on her, but she is no different than the rest of these foolish people. And she probably is in it to do nothing more than to push our Chinese agenda. I don't know that, and I'm definitely not accusing her of that, but people do think that, and they think that for a reason. They think that for a reason, so you might want to do your own research. Might want to do your own research. There was an executive order signed in yesterday, a real important one that people probably overlooked due to the nonsense that's being pitched on mainstream media that mainstream media never, ever, ever, ever talks about. They don't talk about anything unless they want to. And if it furthers their leftist agenda, they'll talk about it. If not, then they will not even mention it, oddly enough. But President Trump did sign an executive order invoking the Defense Production Act to save 13 coal plants across 10 states. President Sleepy Joe Biden tried his hardest to close all of these plants and effectively did close a lot of them. But Trump is rebuilding them better than ever. Better than ever. These are plants that are in West Virginia, Kentucky, North Carolina, Indiana, Tennessee, Arizona, Arkansas, Oklahoma, North Dakota, and Wisconsin. So we're going to get into that, and we're going to talk about that. We're definitely going to talk about that. John Bolton, old John Bolton, is pleading guilty, allegedly, to retaining all these classified documents. He and his mustache will have to pay $2.25 million and face up to 60 months in prison. I think it's like 18 counts of espionage, felonies. Well, the traitor is getting what he deserved, but he'll make a deal. But he's still going to plead guilty. I mean, we already knew he was guilty. Remember, he was on every show trying to not allow Trump to get elected in 2024. We remember, Bolton. It's your time now. Karma is a bee.
Support for these programs comes from Electrical Solutions and Services in Pearl, Mississippi, providing licensed electrical contracting services throughout Mississippi for commercial, industrial, and residential projects. Also installations, system upgrades, troubleshooting, and emergency electrical repairs. As certified installers for Tesla, charging systems, and a certified dealer for Generac backup power solutions, their team delivers safe, code-compliant workmanship with a commitment to precision and integrity. They are veteran owned. Their phone number is 769-572-7597.
You wanted to see me?
Yes, please, have a seat. So here's the thing. When this company brought you on, we took a chance on you. You didn't have that 4-year college degree we typically look for.
Right.
But we gave you a shot anyway. And since then, you've worked incredibly hard and given it your all.
Thanks.
You've been an important asset to the team, but I don't think you can be an intern here anymore. We want to hire you.
You're serious?
Absolutely.
Find your next great employee. Introduce yourself to the grads of life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
I won't let you down.
I know.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
Don't forget to check out Cypress Point Resort. Memories are made at Cypress Point. Close to home, yet it feels miles away. At Cypress Point, you can truly get away from it all. You can step back to a simpler time, yet enjoy all the amenities of today. Cameron's Garage is a sports bar and music venue. There's a lunch buffet every day inside Cypress Point. They also have a steakhouse and the Tavern. The Tavern is a quaint little place with live music Wednesday through Saturday. And of course, you've got the Safari Park and Petting Zoo. Don't forget about all the event halls, including the Wedding Chapel and so much more. That's Cypress Point Resort, located at 874 Hollybush Road, Brandon, Mississippi. Contact them at 601-829-1101 or at cypresspointms.com.
Welcome back to the Unleashed Media and Talk Show with Daryl Arnold. And yes, he's still unapologetic.
All right, 7:43 in the morning on Friday, June 5th, 2026. Breaking into the last segment of the show here. I want to thank everybody for listening, as always. We just talked about John Bolton and his mustache will have to pay upwards of $2.25 million in fines and up to 60 months in prison. He probably won't get that, obviously, but that's a start. The traitor is getting what he deserves for sure. That's the truth. That is the truth.
Breaking news, sources revealing that John Bolton is planning to plead guilty to retaining classified information. That plea will likely keep him out of prison. This stems from a charge, 18 of them at the end of last year, of keeping a diary-like material of classified information. So it looks like that case is moving forward and all likelihood is now settled. All right, now.
Yep. He likely made that deal so he wouldn't have to, confirming that he was guilty, so he wouldn't have to spend massive time in jail. I think the guy's like 78, 77, whatever. But he did it to himself. He did it to himself. He did it. And overnight, Senator Mike Lee went into just the mode that he should have been in for the Save America Act and forced to vote on it. He nailed it. The Department of Homeland Security has found tens, up thousands of unregistered non-citizens in the United States. We need to nuke the filibuster and pass it. Yes, we do. Right away, y'all. Period. Just crazy. So I told you we would talk about the coal plants across the 10 states that Biden tried his hardest to close all of these plants. He did. So yesterday, on Thursday, Trump signed in an executive order invoking the Defense Production Act to save 13 coal plants across 10 states. Biden tried these hardest and was successful in many times. But he said, our action will allow these facilities to invest in upgrades that will extend their operational lives for decades. And good for Trump. All these things that don't get mentioned on the mainstream media. Of course not. Never. They would never do that.
To save 13 coal plants in West Virginia, Kentucky, North Carolina, Indiana, Tennessee, Arizona, Arkansas, Oklahoma, North Dakota, and Wisconsin. These were incredible plants, so productive, really producing a lot of the electricity, right? The electricity, and it's really the best at that. You know, when they find something better, Chris, I think we'll be all set for it, right? But there are long ways from finding something better.
Coal's critical.
And so when you look at that, those states, West Virginia, Kentucky, North Carolina, Indiana, Tennessee, Arizona, Arkansas, Oklahoma, North Dakota, Wisconsin, what do they all have in common? Trump won them.
Wisconsin, but you're
I won every one of them by a lot, right?
Yeah.
I'm not even
Pennsylvania,
mentioning
too.
Pennsylvania, which we won also, right?
Yes.
But we won them all. We won.
And good. Think about how many jobs, how many how many small towns that saves. But on top of that, it's an energy thing that the Democrats wanted to kill with their green new BS. Of course they did. That's what they wanted to do. That's what they wanted to do. But, you know, Joe Biden did everything he could to take away good paying jobs from us. This is a person commenting on this story. He shut down the pipeline. Don't ever forget that. Don't ever forget that. That's true. That's true. And a big thank you from the coal miners. They all say, we appreciate you, Trump, for doing this. Period. Someone over in Tennessee said, hey, Kingston and Clarksville plants will be saved. Because there are a lot of jobs for the American people, y'all. American people. And we need it in Alaska as well, but we have that crazy lady over in Alaska. But just notice from the local electric company, these prices are starting to, you know, yet again go up in the summer. That's why we need this to happen, and we need it to happen now. We need it to happen now. Okay, there's a lot of different opinions on that coal thing. But listen, if you don't agree with that, you're probably on board with the green new shenanigan deals that will never do anything. People will never buy into that anytime soon, if at all. They just won't. In fact, I know they won't. In fact, I know they won't. Boomerang kids. We talked about it briefly the other day. Boomerang kids. That just means the kids that are still living with their parents or had to come back with their parents, boomeranging back in their late 20s or 30s. You know, can you let them stay there a while? In my opinion, of course you can. They're your children. But you have to set goals for these people. You have to set rules. You have to make them get a damn job, pay rent. I mean, how hard is this? I can't believe this is even stories on TikTok, Patty Walk, and the rest of them. But it is. And I talked about this story on the Wednesday episode. If you want to listen on the podcast at Unleashed Media and Talk with Daryl Arnold, I did. And when Dr. Oz was speaking the other day, He was giving American advice, medical advice, to people suffering from a Trump derangement syndrome. And I know we can laugh, but this is it's a real thing, y'all. Unfortunately, it's a very real thing. And people have lost their minds over Trump with the Trump derangement. It's a very serious ailment, as Dr. Oz said.
Do you have any medical advice for the Americans out there that are suffering from a very serious ailment called Trump derangement syndrome?
I am concerned about folks who have focused their entire life energy on dislike of the president. It's disheartening to see people lost in that way, but it's treating stupid is really hard.
Yeah, treating stupid is really hard, and that's what it's become. As our grandparents used to say, you can't fix stupid. That's true. But Dr. Oz for the win on that one, 100%. Dr. Oz for the win on a Friday. Yes, yes, yes. That's the winner for the week. That's the winner for the week. You mean like the ladies that, I wouldn't call them ladies, but the chicks that host The View? Somebody text, yeah, like them. Treating stupid is real hard. Are there any adults on the left in the politic world or on the leftist system, progressives, are there any of them that have any common sense? We talk about it every day. I'm not sure that there are anymore. I used to say there's a few, but I'm not real sure. Not real sure. I noticed a New York lady said, but hey, is there anything we can do for the Mandami derangement syndrome? There's no derangement about Mandami. There's none. He has no Western values. We have a constitution that he doesn't support. We have religions that he doesn't support. Anyway, Mandami is definitely not a good person. He's going to unfortunately run New York City, which he's well on his way into the ground. He's going to do that. And that's going to happen, y'all. It's going to happen. Let's listen in on Scott Bessent at the hearing again yesterday. Ridiculous.
In our nation's history, and
I am going
while
to
you
have
dance
to
around
take
questions
exception
to
with
protect
that is
Trump,
a slanderous
Americans are
statement.
suffering
That is a
in Trump's
slanderous
spiraling
statement.
economy.
And
Inflation is now rising faster than average hourly wages.
Nah.
Gas prices are at an all-time high with the war in Iran. The cost of groceries has risen 3.2% over the past years, and prices on most goods have gone up because of Trump's tariffs. So I don't see how you could call that anything other than a failure of the most corrupt Treasury Department in history.
The Congresswoman is slanderous. She has nothing but the unsubstantiated opinions, and I will not stand for that. There is nothing corrupt. We move at the highest levels, and just because she cannot get the answer she wants, if she would like to give me facts, she seems long on facts, short on facts, long on hot air, and I will not stand for that. Grace to me.
Yeah, good. Don't stand for any of these Fruit Loops. All they want to do is jump up there on that podium, get their little clip for CNN or MS Now, MS Cow, whatever they're calling it now. But that's all they want to do anyway. That's, in fact, all they really want to do. Unbelievable. You know, they've been trying all this with Rubio. Rubio doesn't allow any of this to go. He just doesn't fall for it. He doesn't fall for it, as he should not. All right, let's talk about the most insane story moving into the weekend, and probably the most insane story of the week when it comes to leftist lunatic policies and the rest. New York City, or New York rather, Democrats, a state, they're pushing this bill, and it's already made it to Governor Kathy Hochul's desk, that will erase mom and dad forever. Are you kidding me, Daryl? No, I'm not kidding you. This bill will erase mom and dad, replacing it with gestating parent and non-gestating parent. Paternity proceedings are getting the woke treatment as well, it looks. This garbage right now, y'all, like I said, is sitting on Kathy Hochul's desk. This isn't inclusion or whatever the hell they try to call it. This is pure woke insanity. Again, while the massive waste of time, while real problems crush New York, it's insulting to actually mothers and fathers. And it's exactly why people are fleeing away from these blue hellholes for a state with common sense. It's the truth. So why do people keep voting? Why? Ditch the mom and dad. That's what they're saying. Ditch it completely. Even does ditch the paternity proceedings to parentage. I mean, are you absolutely kidding me? Unfortunately, we're not. That's how sick and twisted these people are. That's how sick and twisted the people are. But hey, that's what's happening. Unleashed, unapologetic. My name is Daryl Arnold. We're moving into the weekend on a Friday, June 5th. Y'all have a great weekend. We'll be back on Monday morning, bright and early, to talk about all the other stuff that happened over the weekend, because it changes so freaking fast. Thanks to our sponsors, Electrical Solutions, electrical services in Pearl, Mississippi, Mobility Medical, Lakeland Drive, mobilitymedicalinc.com. Make sure you check out the live music tonight and tomorrow night. We have big bands at Cameron's Garage, located at Cypress Point. We have the Matty Cole Band on tonight, Friday, June 5th. Incredible. We have Soundcheck, the band. We'll be back tomorrow night on Saturday, June 6th. So you don't want to miss any of that. My name is Daryl Arnold, and until we see you next time, see ya.
Thank you all for tuning in. Hashtag unfiltered, hashtag unapologetic, America First Talk at its best, where we party the right way. See you next time, or else.